You want the truth? Then let's stop pretending. Because what happened on Raw, February 16th, 2026, wasn't just a promo. It wasn't just a shot fired. It wasn't just another chapter in a storyline. It was a public execution of a legacy. And when CM Punk looked straight into the hard camera and said, "The Judgment Day have dragged Finn Bálor down," he didn't just insult a faction. He ripped the mask off a man who used to be untouchable. So here's my first question for you, and I want honest answers in the comments. Was Punk telling the truth, or was he projecting? Because after what we saw, there is no middle ground. Let's rewind. The arena was electric. That slow, simmering tension that only builds when you know something big is about to explode. Punk walked out with that look, not smiling, not joking, not playing to the crowd. This wasn't nostalgia Punk. This wasn't happy to be back Punk. This was venom. He took the mic, paced for a moment, let the crowd noise wash over him, and then he started dissecting Finn Bálor piece by piece. And the scariest part? He wasn't yelling. He wasn't ranting. He was calm, calculated, precise. He said Finn used to be dangerous. Used to be a world beater. Used to feel special. Used to. That word echoed. Used to. And then he dropped the bomb. The Judgment Day didn't elevate Finn Bálor. They diluted him. Now pause right there. Do you agree? Was Finn more compelling before joining the group? Or did the faction actually extend his relevance? Comment Solo Finn or Judgment Finn below. I'm curious where you stand. Because here's the uncomfortable reality. When Finn Bálor debuted on the main roster years ago, he felt like a star who had been forged somewhere else. He had that aura, that edge, that unpredictability. The demon persona? It wasn't just paint, it was presence. Fast forward to 2026. What is he now? Is he the leader of the Judgment Day? Or is he just a senior member of a group that outgrew him? Because, let's be honest, when people talk about the Judgment Day today, who gets mentioned first? Is it Finn? Or is it names like Rhea Ripley dominating the division with sheer presence? Or Damian Priest carrying himself like a main event assassin? Or even Dominic Mysterio somehow turning booze into a twisted kind of stardom? That's not an accident. That's evolution. And evolution can be brutal. Because sometimes when a faction rises, someone inside it shrinks. Punk knew exactly what he was doing. He didn't insult Finn's talent. He didn't call him washed. He didn't say he couldn't go anymore. He said something worse. He implied that Finn had become comfortable. Comfortable hiding in a pack. Comfortable letting others take the spotlight. Comfortable being one of instead of the one. And if you know anything about CM Punk, you know that comfort is the one thing he despises. This is a man who built his reputation inside WWE by fighting systems, breaking ceilings, and refusing to blend in. So when he sees someone he once respected settling into faction safety, that's gasoline on a fire. But here's where it gets even more intense. Finn's reaction. Did you catch it? That split second before he smirked. Before he shrugged it off. There was something there. A flicker. Doubt? Anger? Recognition? Because Punk wasn't just attacking his current role. He was attacking his pride. And pride is dangerous. So let me ask you this. If you were Finn Bálor, do you step out of the Judgment Day to prove Punk wrong? Or do you double down and prove the faction is the reason you're still relevant? Comment go solo. Or stay united. I'm watching those replies. Here's what makes this whole thing even more layered. The timing. We are on the road to WrestleMania. Tensions are rising. Spotlights are getting hotter. Opportunities are shrinking. And Punk just threw a match into a pile of gasoline. Because now this isn't just about a fight. It's about identity. Finn Bálor has spent years trying to redefine himself after injuries, after missed opportunities, after being labeled almost. The Universal title reign that ended too soon. The push that never quite sustained. The demon mystique that started feeling like a special attraction instead of a permanent threat. And now, in 2026, he's being told to his face that the group he leads is the very thing holding him back. That's psychological warfare. And Punk is a master at it. Let's talk about the Judgment Day for a second. When the faction formed, it was chaos.
Dark aesthetic.
Unified aggression. A group of outsiders rejecting the system. And for a while, it worked. They were unpredictable. They were cohesive. They felt dangerous. But over time, something shifted. The spotlight began to split. Storylines began to branch. Individual personalities began to grow louder. That's natural in factions.
History has shown us that.
Name one legendary faction that didn't eventually crack under ego and ambition.
Exactly.
So when Punk says Finn has been dragged down, is he really saying the group is weak? Or is he saying the group no longer revolves around Finn? That's a huge difference. Because being in a dominant faction is powerful, but losing control of it? That's humiliating. And let's not ignore the crowd reaction. The cheers when Punk called him out. The uneasy buzz when Finn stepped forward. You could feel it. This wasn't just another promo segment. This was personal. And here's the crazy part. The more the crowd cheered Punk, the more it validated his point. Because if the fans truly believed Finn was still that guy, would they have embraced the criticism so loudly? Or have they subconsciously moved on to? Be honest. When you think of top-tier main eventers in 2026, is Finn at the top of your list? Yes or no? No sugarcoating. There's also an element of hypocrisy here, and I love it. Because CM Punk calling someone out for being dragged down by a system? That's rich. This is a man whose career has been defined by clashes with management, frustration, departures, returns. So when he says Finn allowed himself to be diminished, is he speaking from experience? Or is he deflecting his own insecurities?
Think about it.
Punk has always needed to stand alone to feel powerful. Finn chose unity. Two different philosophies. One collision course. Let's break down the psychology. Punk thrives in chaos. He creates friction. He isolates targets. He forces them to question themselves. Finn thrives in structure. He operates inside a system. He builds alliances. He reinforces hierarchy. So what happens when chaos meets structure? One of them bends. Or both of them break. That's what makes this feud so compelling. It's not about championships, yet. It's about ideology. It's about legacy. It's about who was right all along. Here's something nobody is talking about. What if Punk is actually trying to help Finn? What if this entire verbal assault is designed to wake up the demon? Because imagine this scenario. Finn snaps. He reclaims that edge. He steps out on his own. And he becomes more dangerous than ever. Would that not validate Punk's criticism? Would that not prove that the faction was, in fact, limiting him? Sometimes the villain in the story is the catalyst for growth. So I'll ask you again. Is Punk destroying Finn? Or rebuilding him? Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Leadership. Is Finn truly the leader of the Judgment Day in 2026? Or is that title honorary at this point? Watch the body language. Watch who talks first. Watch who stands center stage. Leadership isn't declared. It's demonstrated. And lately, it feels shared. Fragmented. Let's talk stakes. If this feud escalates, and it will, what does Finn risk? If he loses to Punk, the narrative becomes cemented. Dragged down. Past his prime. Secondary. But if he wins, then the entire story flips. Then Punk becomes the bitter instigator who underestimated a faction-powered force. Which outcome do you think is more likely? And don't just answer emotionally, think strategically. Who benefits more from the win? Another question for you. Do you want to see Finn bring back the demon against Punk? Or is that version of him done? Because imagine the symbolism. The demon emerging not for a title, but to silence a man who questioned his identity. That would be cinematic. But it would also be desperate. And desperation can be interpreted as weakness. See how layered this is? There's also the faction response. The Judgment Day didn't just stand there looking shocked. They bristled. They stepped forward. They circled. But they didn't interrupt immediately.
Why?
Because maybe, just maybe, some of them were listening too. That's the dangerous seed Punk planted. Not just in Finn. In the group. Doubt spreads fast. especially when it's spoken confidently. And here's something that might anger some of you. Maybe Finn needed this. Maybe complacency had set in. Maybe being part of a dominant unit masked the hunger that once defined him. Punk's words were harsh. But harsh truths cut deepest. Do you think Finn has been coasting? Or is that disrespectful to everything he's accomplished? Let's debate it. Keep it respectful, but keep it real. The February 16th segment will be remembered not because of a brawl, not because of a cheap shot, but because of a sentence. The Judgment Day have dragged Finn Bálor down. Simple,
Sharp.
savage, and it landed. Now the question is, what happens next? Does Finn retaliate with words? Or does he respond with violence? Does the faction tighten ranks? Or do cracks widen? Does Punk escalate? Or does he wait and let insecurity do the work for him? Here's a bold prediction. This isn't ending with just one match. This feels like a long arc, a psychological unraveling, a test of loyalty, a war between individual greatness and collective strength. And those are the best kinds of stories, because they mirror real life. Do you sacrifice personal glory for team success? Or do you step away to chase your own legacy? There's no easy answer. And let me throw one more angle at you. If Finn eventually leaves the Judgment Day and thrives, what does that say about the group? If he stays and continues to feel secondary, what does that say about him? Either way, the stakes are brutal. That's why this promo hit so hard. Because it forced everyone, including the fans, to evaluate where Finn truly stands in 2026. So here's what I want from you before this video ends. Answer these 5 questions in the comments. Was Punk right or wrong? Is Finn stronger solo or in the Judgment Day? Should the demon return? Who wins if they clash at WrestleMania? Is this the beginning of the end for the faction? I'm reading everything, and I want debates. Real debates. Because this storyline deserves it. What we witnessed on February 16th wasn't random. It wasn't filler. It wasn't noise. It was a pressure test. And pressure reveals truth. Either Finn Bálor rises from this sharper than ever, or CM Punk's words become prophecy. There is no in-between. And that's why you're going to keep watching. That's why you're going to keep arguing. That's why you're going to share this with someone who completely disagrees with you. Because wrestling at its best doesn't just entertain. It provokes. And this provoked all of us. So, now I'm turning it over to you. Did Punk light a fire? Or did he expose ashes? Sound off. Ring Rumble is watching.